going to remove the wheel, use a 22mm socket, and pull the wheel off. Just going to use a little rust penetrant. There's a little bit of rust on the stud. Take this wire off right here. There's a little retainer there. You might need a pry tool to get that off. And then there's one on the side here. Take an 18mm wrench and you can loosen up the nut. And the stud is going to spin, so you want to use an 8mm socket. Put it on the stud. You could try to loosen this up with an impact, but the stud is just going to spin. So. And take the nut off. Then you can take the stud out, just like that. Take these two nuts off, use a 24mm socket. Now we're going to take these bolts out, just use a hammer, and give it a tap. There you go. Do the same for the other one. There we go. Right, so that I don't put too much tension on the brake hose itself, I'm going to take this bracket off. Just use a 10mm socket. Take this bolt out. And you don't want to bend this hose too much, but that'll give you a little slack. Now we can slide the knuckle out. Now I gotta take the wiper arms off. I'm gonna use a straight blade screwdriver. Just get underneath the clip right here. Take that nut off. Use a 15mm socket. Take that off. And just grab the arm, just rock it back and forth, slide it off, and you're going to do the same with the other arm. Take this fuse box cover off, just use a straight blade screwdriver, just push on the locks and slide them up, out of the way. And take this ground connection off. Just use a 15mm wrench. Loosen it up. And there's push clips all along the front of the cowl. There should be a couple more on that side. Those are missing. Just use a straight blade screwdriver or a trim tool. Get underneath the clip. And slide those out. And then you're going to grab the cowl and just slide it over the stud right here. And then just try to raise up underneath. There's push pins holding it on. You can try to get underneath there with a trim tool, but normally you can just pull it straight up. And just pull it back there. And you can just raise it up out of the way. You don't necessarily have to take it out any further than that. I'm just going to put a little prop rod here. Just use a screwdriver or a trim tool. That works. And there's 3 nuts on the top. Just use a 15mm socket. Take those off. When you get to the last one, you're going to have to support the strut underneath. All right, now I'm going to support from underneath. Take that last nut off and slide it down. Take these nuts off. Just keep one in your hand and slide it in position. Then get the nut started. And then you can get the other one started. Now we're just gonna leave these on like this. We'll leave those loose. It's gonna be easier to install it from down below, and then we'll tighten these up last. Now take the knuckle and just line it up. You're gonna have to pull it up a little bit. And try to line the bolt up. There you go. Get the other one in. Just give it a little tap. You don't have to hammer it in all the way. And take the nuts. Get those started. And we can tighten these down. Then we can torque these nuts to 144 foot-pounds. All right, now take the sway bar link and line it up. Get the nut on. And I'll use an 18mm wrench to hold the stud. 18mm socket, tighten this up. Now I'll torque this to 59 foot-pounds. Now the ABS wire, slide this in position, right there and right there. Now just take this brake hose bracket, line this back up, put this bolt on. If you felt uncomfortable taking this line off or this bracket off, you could always take the caliper off and hang the caliper on the strut assembly. And tighten this bolt down. And put the tire on. Now I'm going to torque these lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds in a cross pattern or a star pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Now I'll go around again, just double check. Now we can tighten these down. Torque these nuts to 33 foot-pounds. Alright, now I can take this cowl, and if any of these push pins came out down below, transfer them over. Let's slide this back in position. And just line it up. Good. You can take some of these push pins and reinstall these. There should be 4 of them. And take the fuse box cover, put it back on. Now we can reinstall the ground jump starting terminal. Get that started and just snug it up. It's good. Now take the wiper arms and line them up. Try to put them back where they were. If you had to, you could mark them before you took them off. And put the nuts on. While holding the arm, tighten the nut down. Snug it down, then put the cover on. Do the same for the other one.